And what up, though? It's your boy, Jason Jamerson, and welcome to the Jason Jamerson podcast. Here with us today, always, my man 100 gram, my cousin Kev BJ. What's going on, Kev?
What up, though, cuz? How you doing?
No, I'm good. And today's guest is a very special guest. As this weekend was Father's Day. Yesterday was Father's Day. We have my birth father on the podcast today. Give it up for Mr. John Jamerson, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. John Jamerson.
Hey,
I ain't your daddy. I've been told you I ain't your daddy. I'm the one that came and had to raise you, but I ain't your daddy.
Hey, well, that's good enough for me. So gentlemen, before we get into some real stuff, how was y'all weekend?
I'll go first. My weekend was good. It's the wedding season. I have a lot of weddings within June. I got a host of ones that were supposed to be last year, and I got a few that were actually intended for these this year. So I had a wedding. Got to hang with some family, including yourself, and I got to spend Father's Day with my dad. It was pretty cool.
That's what's up. Dad, how was your weekend?
Weekend was great. It really was great. Got to come to your house, and you did an excellent job putting that grill together, and then you did an excellent job cooking that food. Good food, good fellowship. And then on Father's Day, my wife took me out for a wonderful brunch. So I have nothing but good things to say about it. Got on the scale, gained about 4 or 5 pounds. Plan to lose it.
Plan to lose it. That's what's up.
Plan to lose it. That's it. Can't keep it. Can't keep it.
Went to brunch. You have any mimosas?
No mimosas.
No mimosas.
See, we got one thing in common right now that you got to remember.
We're going to talk about that.
You owe me. You owe me one.
I owe you one. I do. We might as well talk about it now. For those who don't know, me and my father just don't happen to be on the same medication right now. We are both on blood thinners, and I had the embarrassing moment of forgetting mine when we was going somewhere at the same place, and I had to call my dad and ask him to bring me a blood thinner. And I owe him a blood thinner now. I owe him an Eliquis. I owe my dad an Eliquis.
You should have seen Jason crawling for it. Crawl for it. Come on, crawl for it, Jason.
I was over there looking like Blade without his serum.
You gave one alone.
Yeah. Well, my dad mentioned that y'all came over for some food. Kev, I've been talking about my barbecue for a minute on this podcast. If you listen to the podcast, you know I talk about all the time that I get downs on the grill. Kev, go. You said you were gonna try it for yourself and let everybody know what the result was. What were your findings on Saturday, Kev?
Yeah, so on Saturday I came through with an appetite. Usually when I go to barbecues, I eat before I come because I don't want to be disappointed. But you've been talking all that game, so I was like, all right, let me come hungry and everything. And generally speaking, I was pleased. I would say the best item on the menu was the steak. The steak was very good. I'm not a really medium person, but it was medium. It was good, flavorful. I also really like the beans. The beans were banging. I definitely mixed those with some other things that probably weren't intended for it, but it worked out very well for me.
My dad made the beans. Well,
thank you, Uncle John, for the beans. The beans.
I ain't about to sit here and lie about stuff I made. Like, yep, them beans, I tell you. No, that was my dad. My dad did the beans.
Yeah, I even threw the beans on the Italian sausage just to kind of make a little homemade chili cheese dog type style, But I will also say, hey, your biggest opportunity is the ribs. The ribs weren't where they were supposed to be in my eyes, and so we're gonna have to use some pointers, some tips, and some lessons.
So I'm gonna tell you what happened with the ribs. I usually don't make beef ribs. However, My brother stopped eating pork. I didn't know if my sister was coming. She stopped eating pork. She don't eat pork. And so I was like, well, that's, the majority of the that's two out of the, and I'm starting to transition out of pork just a little bit. And so I was like, let me try my hand at beef ribs. And the beef ribs don't got as much meat on the bone as the pork ribs do. So I will say I probably did leave them on there a little too long because they probably cooked a little too much. They was getting stuck in people's teeth. So I say the beef ribs, I do got to work on them. That was my first opportunity making beef ribs. But but what I tell you about the steak though, I foreshadowed the steak.
Steak was good. Steak was good.
Yes, sir.
Wait, man. I ask, what's the trend on taking a step back from the pork? I just trying to understand. Is it all the same reasons, or everyone has their own unique reason?
I think everybody has their own reason. Me personally, I just really don't eat it like that. So I'm just like, why? I eat bacon still, but for the most part, it's like, I don't eat pork chops. I don't, maybe breakfast sausage, but other than that, I don't really eat it. So, it just happened to not be something on the menu, and then I see people who don't eat it at all in the family. So I was just like, you know what? If I can make the beef ribs just as good, which obviously I did not, but if I can make them just as good, then we in there.
All right, Uncle John, do you eat pork?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I'll eat just about anything, but I don't indulge in it.
Okay.
So I may have pork chops. If my wife cook it, I'll eat it, but she knows that I'm not eating that much pork. Stay away from the salt. You got, and I would tell anybody whose family has a history of high blood pressure, stay away from the added salt, and just take care of yourself. Because you only got one life, and you got to make the best of it.
That's
and
right.
do the things you need to do if you want to be around here for a while.
It's true. Is it true? I hear people always say you only live once, and I heard somebody else say you only die once also. So you gotta take care of yourself while you're here. But all right, Dan, let's get into it, man. Let's get into it. Father's Day was yesterday. Ironically, Kevin Hart just put out a movie on Netflix that came out over the weekend, which somewhat tells your story. I think Kevin Hart was spying on you and decided he wanted to, because it does say inspired by a true story. I think Kevin Hart's been spying on you, just like Denzel used to spy on you to get all his looks for his roles for a while. Kevin Hart decided he was going to spy on you so he could get the idea for this movie. For those who don't know, my father, my mother passed away when I was 12. I want to say I was 12, and I have two brothers and three sisters. And my father stepped up, raised us all. So I guess we're gonna start here. How was the transition to the two parent to one to the one?
That transition was very hard. It was tough. You have to look at the fact that our situation probably was different than other people's situation. And that Jason, you never saw the inside of a school until she passed. Okay, you were homeschooled all your life. Your two older siblings were like first grade and kindergarten. We took them out, so it was a very tough transition. But I have to go back a little bit and look at how. And I'm not going to preach, but I gotta tell the truth about things.
Go ahead.
Look at God. Look at God, how God set me up for part of it, because my father was killed in a on-the-job accident when I was 6 years old, and my mother never remarried. So I was raised by a single parent family, and you don't know when things happen what they're there for. So then in 1987. My mother went home to be with the Lord. So then it just helped me to focus more on the family. And I gave up jobs just so and the job was, I could have made more money, been working overtime, but what's working overtime when you don't even know who your family is? People
Mhm.
make the mistake of saying they're doing it for the family, okay? And they look at money as what the family needs when the family needs you,
Mm.
especially black males. Your family needs you. They, yeah, they like the things, but it's you that they need, and you that they want. And Jason, you could attest to that because when your mother passed, it didn't matter about money or anything else. You wanted your money. Your brothers and sisters, you wanted your mother, and your brothers and sisters wanted their mother.
Mm-hmm.
So the hardest part of that was when I had to come home from the hospital and tell you guys that she wasn't coming back home again. Okay, my survival was due to my faith in God and in His Word. And to go back a little bit, when my father died, I always grew up in church.
Mm-hmm.
Before I was born, I was in church. And so the difference, though, was when the church got in me rather than me being in the church.
Mm.
When I accepted Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior, it wasn't just a saying or something that you do, it's a lifestyle that you begin to live. And you have to read what the Word says. You have to not only read, but you got to be a doer of the Word and not a hearer only. Otherwise, you're just deceiving yourself thinking it's something. And that's how you get knocked off the boat because you don't stay in it long enough to see the outcome that God will give you. One thing I had said is my kids will not be taken away from me and they will not be
Mm.
split apart.
Mhm.
And God honored that. Okay. Nobody ever came in and said I was a bad father because I was always doing something with you guys and I always was looking to support your mother in whatever she wanted to do. So when I came home from work, if she wanted to go out, no matter how tired I was, I let her get out and get away for a couple hours or so. Then started letting her go on weekend trips every now and then with a girlfriend because she needed an outlet as well. But what that showed as well that I was able to take care of my family. That's why I used to press and curl uh, all the girls' hair. Okay,
Yeah, he mean with the pressing comb.
What the hot
press and
comb?
comb.
He
I
mean with that
comb.
hot comb. He put that blue magic and that Indian hemp on the stove. It's a wrap. It's
Ooh.
No,
sick.
no, no, no. Ultra sheen, ultra sheen
Okay.
pressing cream.
Sulfur
Because
8?
no, so right. See, y'all talking about uh, scalp dressings, not pressing,
See, he
not for
know.
pressing.
This
Yeah.
is why I don't do my daughter hair.
So the thing of it is, you did I cry? Yes, I cried. Was I hurt? Yes, I was hurt. And anybody that's not hurt really didn't have a good relationship with their wife. She was a backbone. Okay, while I was at work, she was at home with the kids. We wanted to put values in our kids that were our values and not the school system or the world's. They were going to get that anyway when they got out there. But what you have to do is give your kids a foundation starting out so that they have something to compare to. As I say, train up a child in the way they should go. When they're old, they will not depart. You're going to go out there and you're going to make some mistakes. Simple as that. All of us have, and all of us, to an
Mhm.
extent, will continue because we don't know it all.
Mhm.
Mhm.
But we have a
That's true.
foundation to fall back on. And the knowledge and wisdom of our so that's how I made it through. Had support from my brother and my sister. They were there. Uh, Kid, y'all dog my sister out so bad though.
Wait, whoa,
I'm
whoa,
talking
whoa,
about
whoa,
her.
whoa, 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 whoa. What did we do?
How you go?
Yeah, she she brought the soup over there, and y'all called it bird stew.
That was John. John did that. He said, he said she put pigeon in the soup and drew a picture, illustrated it all and everything.
So, but had helped the support of family, and that helps as well.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Somebody had a question. I asked Facebook what people would want you to what you would want to talk about, or what they would want to know from
Mhm.
you about me, or regardless. Um, Somebody along that same vein, somebody asked, how did your mindset in regard to your career change after she passed? Like, did you think about quitting so you can be a full-time father, or did you just say I'm cut hours, or what did that mindset change to?
Well, let me set something straight. How are you going to quit a job and be a full-time father?
I,
Where money coming from?
I have no
Absolutely.
idea. I have
Where the
no
money
idea.
coming from?
I'm reading the question that was asked.
No, you have to work a job and be a full-time father.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Mhm.
you got to understand something with the homeschooling and with your mother being at home. She set the stage and the standard, okay, for how you guys could become self-sufficient. And that's what part of homeschooling is about. You teach yourself. If you get stuck, the principal, who is me, will come home and help. Okay. But you started self-study. She put you on a regimen too. You get up at this time, we doing this, we doing this, we doing this. So the regimen was still was there. Now, uh, after her homegoing service and everything, I had this idea, and it probably was to preserve the memory that I'm going to work and I'm going to homeschool you guys.
Good luck with that.
About a month and a half later, as I was thinking that, the Lord told me, "You can barely take care of yourself. How you going to do all of that?" And
Yeah.
I said, "You right." And so the search went on to find schools for you guys so that you could get in and
Hmm.
go. But it's not something that you do all of a sudden. It's something that's developed over a period of time, and you have to have the relationship with your wife or your spouse in order to have the foundation set so that if something does happen to one of you, that things can still go forward.
Got you. Got you. Got you. So I'm gonna ask a question that everybody wants to know. Am I the favorite? I think everybody wants to know that. Everybody who's watching wants to know. Am I your favorite? Right here, right now.
And if
Am I
not, who is?
Are you my favorite? What?
child? Am I of all your children? Who's your favorite?
So that's a question that people have been asking for millennia of parents. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What qualifies you to be a favorite?
I don't know. I just want to know.
So what you're asking me is if all six of y'all were in front of a firing squad and
Mm-hmm.
I could save one of you, which one would I save?
Yep. You can't jump in and take the bullets for us.
That's what would happen. That's what it
They,
is with parents. Each child has a unique characteristic. All of you are different. Okay.
Mhm.
That's just like saying all of you, even though you were raised in the same house, under the same roof, with the same parents, you're not the same. So there are character traits that you look at in your children and you put a thumbs up or you start getting on your knees and pray.
mm-hmm.
When you start looking at favorite, it implies that one is lesser than another. And in a parent's eyes, if you had another child right now, Jason, would Selena or the other child be your favorite?
Ooh. I don't know, because I'd
Yeah.
have to. I
Kevin, if you
probably
had three kids, which one would be your favorite?
Uh, I'm gonna refrain from that one. I haven't started the family, but I think I agree. I think I
Yeah,
agree with what you're saying. Every parent I know, when you kind of get to this, every child has a unique characteristic, or you have a deeper connection in some unique way that kind of brings y'all together, depending on age, personality, challenges. Just raising them could have been challenging. You just kind of have a bond just from arguing, like just little
hmm
things like that. Yep.
yeah. So the short
So
answer is yes, I am.
Well. Speaking of that, though, like challenges, can you talk about some of the challenges of Jason specifically as a child?
Here we go. Here we go.
For me, it wasn't that much of a challenge.
Okay.
When you carry a big stick, you don't have to worry about nothing.
As he's talking, literally, he had a 2x4 that he walked around with, like he was hacksaw Jim Duggan or something. So literally, when you carry a big
wasn't
stick,
afraid to use. The reality of it is, most people look at kids or their children and forget that they were one at first before they became an adult. I've always looked back as to how I was or the things that I did as a child. So when my kids did stuff, I had a reference point. And so it didn't get on my nerves. Okay. Jason was a little bit quiet when he was younger. And that's why he got left at home one time when his mother was taken to the library. And
left
they
me
all in the van, and
home too.
she's driving off and everything, and all of a sudden asked about Jason, and Jason wasn't in the van.
I'm in the living room.
You sitting in the living room. That's right, because the inside alarm was going.
Looking through the mailbox, trying to find out why the alarm's going off. Because they saw me moving, but they didn't know who it was.
So, like I say, with all of my kids, my expectation was that, we are born into sin and we got to get the sin out. Okay. We're shaped in iniquity and sin. Out of the womb, we come out wanting to do our own thing. We start crying because we want to eat when we want to eat. We want our diaper changed when we want our diaper changed. And we don't shut up until it happens. So the parents think they're training the kids, but the kids training the parents when they first get out. Then you got to do that role reversal.
Okay.
If you just realize that, if you just always think back on the things you did when you grew up, and then look at the issues that are here today, or the opportunities that are here today, because things are more in the open. You got the internet, Facebook, all this stuff, which in itself isn't bad, but the way people use it is crazy. You got kids committing suicide. People want to shoot each other just over a Facebook post. And then you got somebody, well, I got 2,000 likes and I got 5,000 friends. How you gonna call them your friends and you never seen them before and you don't even know anything about them? So we've taken what a friend really is, who would stick by you, be there for you, be down with you, and we've made life a popularity contest. And when you make life a popularity contest, you're setting yourself up, because just as fast as you get popular, all somebody got to do is start one rumor or do one thing, and now you're popular in a way you don't want to be.
Yeah, this is true. This is true. That's why I personally, social media is a tool. I hate social media. I do not like posting personal stuff. You see, very rarely do you see personal things of mine on social media. It is for business mainly. But to go back, Kev, on me being, how was I growing up? I don't think any trouble I got into, I didn't get into by myself for the most part. There was a ringleader. He's not here to defend himself, so I'm not gonna bring him up and say his name by name. But I think the one time I actually got in like trouble was when I was in 9th grade and I got suspended. Yeah, I got suspended, and really, I thought I was just joking around, but the teacher was like, "Yo, Jason, you told me," because it was one of them situations we got to grade each other's tests, and or we had to grade our own tests, and I clearly had a D on the test, so I was going to get in trouble regardless. But I was like, yeah, I got a B. And then when I handed it in, clearly I wrote it as a big old D. There was no way you could see it was a B. And the teacher was like, oh no, you lied, because it was a Christian school. That's a cardinal sin. So I think that was the last time I got a whooping, and it hurt my pride more than it hurt my body, because I'm like, I'm in ninth grade. I'm practically a grown man, and you giving me a whooping. I walked up the stairs confused after that. I didn't know what just happened after you gave me that whooping. Did this just, it happened to me now? But I think that was the only time like I got into real trouble by myself.
Let me tell you about this boy. One Christmas, he wanted what did I get you, an Xbox?
No, it was a Nintendo 64. It wasn't
Nintendo
that
64.
reason.
Nintendo 64. And so I used to mess
Play
with my
too
kids
much. That's what he used
sometimes.
to do. He used to play too much. He used to play way too much.
So that Christmas, I didn't give it to him right away. That boy acted out so bad. It
Time
was
out.
ridiculous.
Hold on.
Boy acted out so bad.
Define not right away.
And what's acting out?
Define not right away.
The boy, at my house at Christmas, the first thing we do, they always had to do the Christmas story. So they had to put a play together and everything. Then we sang, we prayed and everything, and recognized what Christmas really is the birth of Jesus Christ, and go through why gifts are given and to be thankful for what you get, because there's other kids out there that didn't get nothing or whatever. So Jason was really expecting it, and I had planned to give it to him last. But the boy started acting all nutty and crazy and everything, crying and getting upset and stomping and everything. And the thing is, I'm patient and everything. I tried to calm him down and everything else, and he kept going. So instead of busting up upside his head, I said, okay, I'm going to hold this back longer. So he didn't get it to the next day. Okay. And then I took some.
Before we went to church, Christmas was on Saturday that year. Before we went to church, he came up from the basement with the Nintendo 64. And I couldn't play it because we was about to go to church. Couldn't even set it up. We was about to go to church.
Well, it was either that or take it back to the store.
I wasn't going crazy like that. I don't recall.
Who was that you said was a ringleader? Let's get him on the line.
Okay. On a friend.
I don't recall going crazy like that. Not like that. I was disappointed, but I don't recall going bananas because I didn't get it.
Oh, you did.
But I will say, when he gave it to me, he hooked it up. He ain't just give me the Nintendo 64. I had like an extra controller. Got me like I had at what was it? It was GoldenEye. I think I got Mario Kart and like 3 other games all at the same time. So he hooked it up. He hooked it up.
Yeah, had all that stuff for you. If you hadn't acted like a little nut, you would have got it on Christmas.
Hey man, I don't think it was that bad. I think you're exaggerating.
That nut.
I think you're exaggerating.
So one of the things you look at, and I'll say this because I said he was acting like a nut and everything. There's no manual on how to be a father that's out there. We learn through experience, either by seeing somebody else as a father or by reading and listening to other folks that is giving out good information about it. And one thing that after I heard it, just really made a change in me, because one of the things you really never want to do is discipline your kids when you're mad, because that's where it can go to the abusive stage. So I learned that, and the other thing which my kids say they hate it is explain to them why they're getting it. Okay, if I gave you a rule and you broke the rule, you get it. If I didn't give you the rule and you did something, okay, we had a conversation, but now you got the rule and you do that. And then after you explain, because if you ask him, he was talking about the 2x4 was actually a bed slat, that hold it, and it was. And I would tell them how how many hits they would get for the crime that they committed. So they knew what was coming in advance.
You knew the punishment.
Afterwards, I'd hug them, tell them I love them, even though didn't want to hug me, pushing away. But I hugged them and told them I loved them. So that the whole framework for that is that they understand that you're there to train them in a way that they should go, and that you're doing it because you love them, not because you're mad at them, not because they're this, that, or the other, or knuckleheads or whatever. You want them to grow up and be a positive influence in the world that they're going to live in.
I didn't have an issue with you explaining. My issue was at the time, I completely understand it now. But at the time, my issue was right before you would whoop us, you would say, this is going to hurt me more than it's going to hurt you. And I thought you were lying through your teeth. You said that. I said, well, if that's the case, let me whoop you then. But as a father now, I know exactly how you feel, because like I do the same thing with my daughter. I explain to her why. First of all, I tell her, I give her a rule, like like you did, and if she breaks the rule, I give her a second chance, because she got me one time. She was watching too much VeggieTales, and I told her I was going to whoop her. She was like, but Daddy, I'll get another chance. I was like, no, I told you once. She was like, but God is a God of second chances. I was like, I can't argue God.
Right, that game on.
Yeah. So I give her a second chance. And then after that, I sit her down, tell her exactly what she did. I reiterate the whole thing. Like, I told you once, I told you twice. Now you're going to get a whooping, and this is why. And so then before I whoop her though, she be so terrified. Like, I don't even think it's terrifying. Like her being scared or anything. It's just her. She looks in such a way that it's like, all right, I think she learned her lesson. Do I really got to whoop her now? I think she gets it. I don't think I really need to whoop her now. But you got to. I was watching. I don't know how much truth is to this, but I was watching a video on Instagram today, and there's a guy talking about how spankings and getting whooped started in slavery. And the slaves used to do that to their children, because they're like, if you do something in here that's wrong, you just gonna get your butt whooped by me. But if you do it out there where the slave master is, that could be your life. And I'm not sure how much truth there is to that, but it makes sense, because it's like, now it's like black people whoop their kids because it's like, I'm whooping you here because in this house you break a rule. I'm just gonna whoop your butt, but out there in the world, you break a rule. The police or somebody that could be your life at that point. So I completely understand why the whoopings was necessary. But along that same vein, somebody had asked a question. I'm going to alter the question a little bit. To your memory, what is the worst whooping you had to give?
To my memory, the worst, because of the way I changed. None of them were really the worst whipping I had to give, because it was all to, again, train you up in the way you should go, to let you know that there's consequences for your actions. Let you know if you break the rules, like you were saying, if you break the rules in the house and nothing happens, what are you going to do when you go out in the street? Mm-hmm. And you're going to get your hair busted. Are you talking about, some of your siblings would I get there and I'd have to give them multiple chances, because you know what I would tell you, because the rule was go down to the basement and wait for me, because I wouldn't come down right away either.
Then think about it.
Yeah, then you had to pull your pants down, lay across the couch on your knees, because all I wanted was your pure, unadulterated behind.
I don't know if that is the best thing to say in 2021.
Well, this was back in the 80s and 90s. I don't want to hit your hand. I don't want to hit
public in 2021, but all right.
But I just wanted to get you where it hurted. Now, remember, I started off um, when you were younger too. It's whatever part of your body got you in trouble. Either your
Yeah,
hands
I
ran the
will.
evil, your foot ran the evil. It would be like with a wooden spoon or whatever. And a lot of times it's not about, parents need to understand, just like you were saying with Selena, it's not about how hard you hit. Sometimes it's just the fact that you are disciplining the child, and the child really, child is more upset because they did something wrong and everything's taken care of there, but you have to follow through and keep your word.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's when you don't do that and recognize the disposition of the child himself, because they can play you too. So you got to really recognize the disposition, and then you can get into being abusive. And I do not condone abusive discipline at all, because it's not really necessary, and people need to
Yeah.
understand that, whether it's verbal abuse or physical abuse, because a lot of people will
Yeah.
verbally abuse
Mm-hmm.
their children, and they really don't know what it's doing to them, how it's giving them inferiority complexes, um, complexes that make them think they're not worth anything. And unfortunately, it's normally done because it's passed down. It's a learned behavior. And we
Mm-hmm.
just have to break those cycles,
Yeah.
because they're no good.
This is true.
But like I said, because I didn't do it. So the worst is when y'all wouldn't do what I asked you to do to get your spanking. Because after I give you a few chances, like you say, but then I'm just swinging, and whatever I hit, get hit. But then you still got to give me that behind. And I'm gonna tell you, I can say it now because there's a secret where you don't really have to hit your kids that hard. In fact, you can hit them less with less power if you do this one thing, and that is understand where you want to hit them and hit them in the same place every time.
So this is a whooping tutorial. You getting whooping tutorials right now in the
Same
same
place.
place. Where my notebook at? I gotta take some notes.
The first one you get the sting, and before that sting go away, you just hit them in the same place again, and it's amplified. Then your
Mm-hmm.
third one, you hit them in the same place again, but you don't have to swing as hard each time.
I might can do that now because I got LASIK, so my accuracy is probably up. When I had glasses, sometimes I'd be swinging, my glasses would slide down my face, and I end up
Mm.
hitting a different spot because I just didn't know. I couldn't figure it out.
So the whole point of that is, again, you don't have to be abusive if you just take time to think about things, and like, and it comes from, you know, have you guys ever played the game called Thumps,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
where you thump in the hand?
Mm-hmm.
It's the same principle. People, they just keep thumping and they go all around your hand. You can last longer. But if you hit the person, thump the person in the same spot all the time, they're going to give up.
Mm-hmm.
So
This
it's
is true.
that same principle that you're using. So again, so you don't have to abuse your kids. You can go ahead and give them something they can feel, and then, chill out.
Got you. Got you. So that's whooping 101 for anybody who's watching. Whooping 101 taught by John Jamerson, instructor. He has a master class you can subscribe to for whoopings. It's on
For
YouTube.
$9.95.
$9.95. You can
That's how those
subscribe to this
infomercials
whooping
go.
seminar. He goes through everything: velocity of a hit, the power of a hit, what items to use to whoop them. Apparently, an extension cord is overrated, folks.
An extension cord can get very abusive because those things hurt like all, and they leave whoops on the body.
Hey, don't give them the free game. They got to sign up for $9.95 so they can hear this kind of
So
stuff.
okay, all right. You take care of that, Jason.
Yeah, you gotta get that master class money, sir. You whooped 6 kids for how many? I don't know how many years everybody was getting whoopings. He is an aficionado of whoopings. Okay, so I got some questions that people were asking, specifically your thoughts on, well, not thoughts, but things about myself from your perspective. You kind of said one thing, somebody asked, what were your expectations for me specifically growing up? Or were there any at some point, me specifically, not in general for all the kids?
So it went across the board for everybody. The expectations that I had for you is that you go to school, you graduate, okay, you would be, you get good grades in school, okay. Education is important, okay. Um, I I recognize that college isn't for everybody, okay, but you have to do something. Trade, college, the service. You got to get some type of skill because you can't make it in this world without a skill, without being in a servitude type of job.
Mhm.
Okay, you want to work in a restaurant, you can do it, but think about that right now as where you gonna live, how you gonna survive, how you gonna have a girlfriend, okay, how you gonna to not only pay for yourself, but help them as well. So if school is not for you, get a trade, carpentry. With carpentry, you get that trade, you can own your own business with that. Or you can have, look at something that is always going to be around. Cars going to be here, learn how to work on the cars, the latest stuff. And like I said, people will always have a home. And what type of stuff you need to have done in your home? Painting, laying carpet, doing floors. Find yourself a niche and work that niche. Electrician, you're always going to need somebody running power, okay, in your house, okay. Build decks, additions, things like that. So the thing, or like Jason started out, he thought about going to college, then he started working, then he got lazy.
I was working first. I was
said,
working. I was working in 12th grade. Remember, you was taking me from ATA to Food Land.
Yep, but I'm saying then you got lazy, and
I
you
ain't getting
decided
lazy.
you got lazy, and you decided you wanted to try to be a comedian.
That wasn't whoa. That's work. That wasn't getting lazy.
Found out it was work.
That is work. I didn't get lazy at all. I realized that like you said, college is for everybody.
Right.
Education is for everybody. And this is my personal opinion. Education is for everybody, but the institution of school is not for everybody. But you still got to learn somehow, some way from somewhere. Like, and me personally, like you said earlier, when I was, being homeschooled, it made me self-sufficient. So classroom settings were very difficult for me because like a lot of times I got bored. A lot of people don't know this, but I'm really a genius.
You're right. A lot of people don't know that.
They don't know that. And I hide that from people on purpose.
Well, thank you.
On purpose. I am really a genius because like I was very self-taught, self-sufficient. And so classroom settings were real difficult for me to try to learn at everybody else's pace when I'm just like, yo, I learned this when in my 7th grade homeschool book, or I learned this at church or whatever. I'm learning history stuff from church lessons. So I was kind of, I won't say I was ahead of everybody, but like it was a lot of the classroom curriculums were stuff that I was repeating and I got bored with it. But school itself, I'm gonna be honest, I got tired of waking up to catch that bus to get there. Get there. My first class was like 6:00, and I had to walk to Evergreen from Grand River and Southfield to hop on that bus to get to school on time. That was like 5 something in the morning. I was like, yeah, I'm straight on this. Your rule for me was I either had to work or I had to be going to school. I had to be doing something. So I said, I got a job. And after that, ultimately, I always wanted to be in entertainment anyways. But, I ended up where I was
at. Just messing with you saying you were being lazy. But no, because you did hump. You humped at Gordon Food Service.
Yeah, Gordon. I was at Food Land and CVS at the same time for one period of time.
But again, the whole thing is if you're looking at anything, a lot of times uh, parents want their kids to live their life through them. And
Mhm.
Yeah.
you can't do that. You got to find out and give your children an opportunity to find out what they want to do, what the niche is, and then help them along with that. Okay,
Mhm.
just support them with what they want to do.
And,
Gotcha.
and talk about careers. When we spent time this weekend, you kind of dropped that you're looking to retire soon. But as Jason and I are kind of early, starting out and just kind of growing and trying to thrive, can you just talk about how you made decisions within your career, how you figured your niche or took chances? While finance is something important, you also want to feel fulfilled as well. Hopefully, kind of within those decisions.
Yeah, you don't want to be someplace you hate just for the money because you're going to end up leaving there. It
Mhm.
was a little bit different because when I was coming up and everything, the thing that I was looking at is getting a steady job. And when I first joined the company, um, I w- I got the job and I said I'm gonna be the best at this job. I'll never be moved, and this is where I'm gonna be for the rest of my life. I didn't have the an extended view of things. Okay, I was blessed because when I was applying for jobs, the only place that called me was Texas Instruments, and I'd had to move down to Houston, Texas. At the time, I was the last one at home with my mother, who was sick. So I used to go down to Detroit Edison and play basketball with one of the guys from church, the choir, and I happened to see a guy who had interviewed me and talked to him, and I was able to get a job at Edison and stay home with my mom, which was the best decision for me. Uh, so I would start out as an engineering technician, and I say I was going to be the best one, and then I was working for an engineer who took my work, put his name on it. I said,
Mm,
I'd be doggone, took credit for the stuff I did. And I said, I want that job.
So you took
there we
your
Not
go.
so
credit. You
that I
want to
can
do the
take
job.
somebody else's work and put my name on it, because that's not right. And I didn't
Hmm.
believe in it. So I went back to night school and got a bachelor's degree and became an engineer. And I was perfectly satisfied being a substation project engineer. That job afforded me a lot of leeway. My kids got to go up north with me when I had to go look at different jobs and see places that they never would have seen,
Hmm.
and got out just because of the job that I had. Well, 1993, 94, they said that job is no longer needed, even though they put all the work that six of us was doing on one person.
Mm.
Um, and so I had to bid on a job in a company and everything, and I became a principal project manager. So as you'll see, my path wasn't laid out for me by me. It wasn't
Mhm.
something that I ascribed to do. When I was a principal project manager, I worked with one of the directors back when the tornado came through city of Detroit, and
Oh, no.
worked with the PLD, worked to get all the PLD street lights hooked onto our system. And he was like a mentor to me. It was like God sent him there to talk to me about things, because he asked me about moving up. I said, no, it takes too many hours, and I got kids and everything else. He asked me what time I was working. He said, my managers only work that amount of time anyway. And so it kind of changed my mind about a little bit. I was then asked to take a temporary job as a manager for distribution planning. Short of it is, my boss's boss was asking me to do it. I said no. I gave him every reason why I shouldn't do it. He gave me reasons why I should. Went home, prayed about it. Said, okay, I can get. They gave step up at the time. I said, get the step up. I'm go back to my other job, and then I can, after this is over. Well, week 2 weeks in, he said, I want you to bid on the job, got the job. All while I was coming through up until even leading up to that point, my heart was in being able to help people
Mm-hmm.
to achieve things
Mhm.
that they couldn't get on their own. And I have to say it mostly African Americans because it was things that were going on. And God knew that, and He put me in a position where I'd be able to do it. And so that's how I really got into management. The thing about career, though, you it's very rare, or some people do. They find a job that they just love and it's right for them, but things change, and when things
Mm-hmm.
change, that job is not right. So what you need to be doing instead of just looking for the prestige or for title and everything else, look at the finances that you have and make sure your finances are getting in order. For you guys right now, I'm of one of the dying breeds. I get a pension.
Yeah.
Okay. You guys get 401ks and that's it. Well, I get a pension plus a 401k. Okay.
All right, money bags.
So what you know,
John Doe.
so what I'll tell you is what I did. Okay. For me, when the 401k came out, I didn't understand it too much, but I said, well, company's going to pay, I think at the time it was dollar for dollar up to 4%. I said, at least I can put that in there because I
Mm-hmm.
made 100% return just because of what the company match was.
Yeah.
And then I just increased. So at this point right now, 22% of my check goes into a 401k.
I love that. I
Mm.
love that.
Okay.
Okay. I'm trying to get there.
So, and the way you do it, some people think you just jump up there. No, you start where you are. If you get a pay increase, you increase your 401k because you're already living out of the money that you currently have.
Mm-hmm.
And if you say, I'm going to raise my 401k 2%, you still going to get an increase in your paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm.
Now, some people there's mixed things too because it's like pay me now, pay me later. If you go tax deferred, you have to pay taxes when you take your money out. Okay, on not only what you put in, but what the company put in and the investments. If you go with the pre-tax, okay, what happens is you're paying tax on it now. Okay, what you'll have to pay tax on when you go to get it out is a company portion and a dividend. So you're paying less tax.
Mm-hmm.
I have a mixture of it.
Okay.
Okay, so that I can get money out that they're not going to tax me to the hilts. Okay. So what I would say for you guys right now, the least amount you should be putting in a 401k
It's the
is the
match.
company match,
Mm-hmm.
and then increase that every year. Increase it. If you do not want to watch it closely, if they have a program where they will watch it for you, invest for you, and you just have to pay some fees. Let them do it because they making money off your money, and they're gonna make sure that you get the best return.
Mm-hmm.
So don't think you have to do it yourself. But please, please, please start doing that now because by the time you guys get ready to retire, it's easy if you start doing it now to have $1 million when you retire,
Yeah.
over $1 million
Mm.
when you retire. But remember, that's all the money you're gonna have to live for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So if you don't want to be working till you're 90 years old, make sure you get that money in there, invest, and then find a decent financial planner or fiduciary,
Okay.
okay, to help you understand how that money works. Because we as African Americans, we don't understand how money works. What we look at money working is we get it, we spend it. That's how it's working. But
Mm-hmm.
you have to have the ability at the end of the day because you can't live off your Social Security.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Other thing I tell you is if you buy a home, buy the home, but pay it off. If you can get a 15-year mortgage, do it. If you got a 30-year mortgage, pay more on the principal. Okay, until you get to the point where you can refinance to a lower uh, term. But the money that you spend to pay that off, just that much more equity. And if you decide to stay in the house when you retire, it's all paid.
Yeah.
That's some real good advice. We
I,
getting money advice and whooping advice all at the same time. Look at this.
I appreciate that. I've been trying to increase the match. I don't have any responsibilities or dependents. And so trying to stay high. And then as we get increases, do those certain things. And I just bought a home as well and trying to be and really trying to build wealth and pass it on. But also, the companies, you're pretty transferable. And so you need to set yourself in a position to be able to take advantage of opportunities when things go in a downswing versus you being dependent on the company all the time as well.
Yeah. The good thing about your 401ks are that they're cash and carry.
Yeah.
So you can go to another job and not lose that money. You just carry that money with you.
Yeah, word to GFS. You got that money getting accruing.
Yeah, so that's what you do. But it's a different world right now. So unless you prepare for it properly, you're gonna be jacked at the end of the day.
We're gonna have to bring you back on, Dad, because there's a lot more questions that people had that we didn't get to answer, and we're coming up on an hour. But there was something I didn't want to cut you off, but there was something I did want to ask you about coming up in management in the 80s and 90s as a black man. What kind of experience was that? Like I'm sure there were people who just certain things happened just because you were black that I don't know if it motivated you even more to do something just to prove people wrong, or if it's just some situations that just that were unpleasant. And what was your mindset if or when something like that happened while you were moving up?
So the bottom line is everybody's not going to be happy with you moving up. Okay, somebody's going to be mad. When I took that temporary assignment and was one of the reasons I thought I'd be going back to my other job is there were about 22 people who were, in my mind, was more qualified than me that they were interviewing. Okay, so and they were of other persuasions. So when you look at an African American getting it, you know that there's a lot of thought processes going on out there. For me, again, my goal in looking at God blessing me with it was to be in a position where I could help people. It was never about having a status, okay? In order to help people, that's where you have to go, okay? So the goal has to be something other than status and money, because you'll get so far and then you'll think you're supposed to go further. One of the questions you was asked was, how did when your mother died, how did that change me? I was on my way up at that time, okay, to even move higher than what I was, but it wasn't worth it. My family, my kids were more important, and God had put me in a position where I didn't need that financially, because He gave me wisdom, and I used that wisdom. Wasn't financially hurting, where I had to look at doing this, and it wasn't about me. Okay, when you begin to get your eyes off yourself and look at what you can do for somebody else, that's how you get exalted, because your name gets known then. Oh, he helped this, he did this, he did that, he did that. Not, he was looking for people to do stuff, and used to be people would tear people down in order to move up. And the world started changing. So you have to build people up. And when you can show that you can build, you'll get moved to build more. So don't look at it. And again, these days, they'll give you a title, but won't give you the money.
Yep, this is true. I see a lot of people with fancy titles. Just
young people are looking for titles. They'll make you the vice president or something, and you're not getting paid more than a supervisor.
That's what happened to me at LA Fitness. I was a personal training director, and the assistant personal trainer director got paid the exact same thing I did, with less responsibility. Actually, I kind of wanted to get demoted.
So, we really have to think about what we're here for and what we're trying to do. Okay. If you can make the same money with less responsibility, unless you really got ego tripping, okay,
Mm-hmm.
I would say take the lesser responsibility, because guess what you get with that? More of your life back. The
Mm.
higher you go in a company, the more of your life they want. If you want to give your life away to the company, look to go up if it's that important to you. But if living and being able to enjoy the fruits of your labor is more important, count the cost before you make the jump.
Mm.
Mm. Mm. Mm. Mm. That's actually
I appreciate that.
yeah, that's something that I actually was thinking about when it came to being at LA. And that honestly, the jump I made actually helped me me count the cost, which was go from working for somebody doing personal training to working for myself doing personal training. I have a lot more time and I'm making a lot more money. So that was a huge thing for me. So we got two final questions. One is coming from my man, my man Will Bosley. He wants to know, as a father, what has been one of your favorite accomplishments?
That's a great question.
What has been one of my greatest accomplishments as a father?
Or favorite accomplishments as a father?
Favorite? Watching how my kids turned out. Watching how they turned out. Watching them become successful. Okay. Just, you know, for you, watching you become more responsible. Okay.
Yeah,
As
I was pretty irresponsible for a while.
So the biggest thing that a parent can be proud of is a child that's flourishing. Okay.
Mm.
A child, and flourishing doesn't mean you're rolling in a dough or whatever, but you're doing something with your life. You're making a difference. You're making a difference in other people's lives. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you may not be on the right track all the way, you know, you're not out there busting people in the head, trying to rob them. You're not trying to take
Anymore.
anybody else's stuff. Okay. What you're doing is you're trying to live the life that you were brought up to live in a godly way. So that's what I look at. The
Okay.
other piece of it is you always, as a parent, you would want your kids to be able to stay in a room together with one another. Okay. So the relationship that you guys have, because it's been some tumultuous times,
Mm-hmm.
but the relationship that you guys have with one another, and they're all different,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
but you can all still come together. What was that, the Memorial Day where you guys
Mm-hmm.
were over here, and I asked you to stand together so I can get a picture? Nobody was, I didn't get any of that type of stuff. You guys got together, you decided how you were going to pose together, and it was great. Those are the things that really makes a parent feel good, because it was worth the labor.
Mm. That's real. That's real. The last final question, which is kind of redundant, but the last final question is coming from Kev.
Yeah.
Kev has one more question for you.
I
Oh,
got-
this is a doozy.
So I really appreciate you just kind of giving us some background on just kind of like how you came up. You talked about the finances, handling the family. You talked about being married, and so I just really love the themes of that. For single Black men, coming up these days. Can you give us your point of view or your advice on kind of starting a family, being married, and really stepping into that role at some point in the future?
One, get yourself together. Understand why you want to get married as well, and understand what marriage is really about. Understand what love is really about. Okay, and both of them are about commitment. You're making a commitment. So when you start talking, and this is probably against what the world says, but when you start talking about a prenup, you already got yourself at a point where you saying it ain't gonna work. So I gotta have something ready just in case it doesn't work. Marriage is not for cowards. It's not for punks. It's not for sissies. Okay, marriage is hard work. I don't care how long you date. When it comes to being married, or how long you may live together. Okay. When it comes to being married, somehow people turn on this different switch and expectations begin to change. But as the expectations begin to change, you have to be able to communicate. If you're with somebody that you can't communicate with, I would say start looking for somebody else or either learn how to communicate. You got to learn one another. Okay. You got to learn each other's love language. Don't be giving her the stuff that you want to receive. Give her what she wants, and she needs to give you what you want. So take time to get to know. Plan together. If you can't plan before you're married, you probably won't plan after you get married.
Mm.
Okay. You need to take time to set the foundation for what you want the marriage to look like. Okay. How many kids you want? Okay. And you come together on that. Now, it may change after you get married. You may want 6 kids, but the first 2 pregnancies are so hard. And then, a third one could cost her life. Do you want to still want your 6 kids, even though it may cost your wife her life? Now, those are things that change, and you have to really look and be flexible with things. It's not my way or the highway. It's our way together. We're coming into this thing together. We want to be together. You're not just a notch on my belt. Okay. You are who I want to live the rest of my life with. And she should be, you should be the one she wants to live the rest of her life with. Yeah, things change, but you have to be willing to work. Marriage is hard work. And when a kid gets here, it's a totally different game because you're going to have somebody sleeping in between you now. It ain't going to be that you can just roll over and do what you want to do. Okay. Life changes. Okay. And it's not her baby. And it's not just your baby. It's our baby. Be willing to split baby duty. You have to be willing to split that. Some things you have to be willing to split. And it may be like, you know, that Old Spice commercial where they got the lavender now with the guy and the girl on there. And she likes his Old Spice scents and everything. And they fighting over it and everything. Share it. Just got to share. Neither one of you are perfect. But together you can reach a form of perfection because she has what you need and you have what she needs. And if all needs are met, you have a form of perfection in your life and in your marriage and in your relationship.
Go ahead, Song of
Honor one
Solomon.
another. Honor one another. And I'll leave it with this. And one of the things that I found interesting, the Bible tells you to love your wife as Christ loved the church and gave himself for her. Okay. So I don't care what you believe. That's what it says. And, that's what you got to do. What it says is you are there to love and protect and shelter and teach, lead, all of that. Lead your family. And that includes your wife. But it says, wives, see that you respect your husbands. And the reason it says that, and this is just me, is because we have to learn how to love. Women get that innately. We have to learn. But they have to be able to respect us. If a woman doesn't respect you, you know how that go. Okay? So she's going to respect you based on how you show up, the needs that you're meeting, that you being the man that you're supposed to be. You're going to learn to love her because she respects you. And there's something about her, even though she makes the top of your nose itch, there's something about her that's going to keep you there. Keep your eyes on the prize that you got. Don't look at anybody else's. They say the grass is always green on the other side, but you don't have to mow that lawn that's over there. You know what you got over here. This is what you're supposed to have. Leave everything else alone. If you keep your eyes focused on what you have and look at the good in the person that you have, again, they're not perfect, neither are you, but they're perfect for you. And you're perfect for them.
That's real. That's real. But Dan,
Much love. I appreciate that.
We're gonna have to get you back on here because we got more stuff we could talk about. A whole lot more stuff we can talk about. Like me and my dad can talk all day, so we can have one of them super long conversations. So we definitely gotta get you back on here one of these days so we can talk about some more stuff. Some other stuff that people had asked, but I appreciate you for taking some time out of your day. Looks like you outside sitting on your deck and it didn't rain on you, so God must be smiling on Southfield right now.
Yeah, I figured I'd come out here and take it. And I paid for it, so I figured I better use it.
I feel that. That's why I be at my fire pit so much. I put my hard working labor and I'm sweating that. I think I may have jammed my finger on one of them, so I'm getting all of my fire pit time as much as I can. But Dan, tell everybody your Facebook and Instagram where they can find you.
You can find me sitting in my chair. Yeah, people need to get they face in a book rather than being on Facebook. Instagram, no, I don't do the social media, only because it's a time stealer. Too often things can get you instead of you having it. So and plus it's too much. I'm sorry, it's too much junk out there. I just don't need to. I don't need the distraction, and I don't get involved. So you cannot find me directly. If you want to find me, go to the Jason Experience, and he can get in touch with me or get you in touch with me.
Yes, because he definitely is a wonderful singer. Y'all be wondering where I got my voice from. He is a wonderful singer. He's available for all events, bar mitzvahs, funerals. He specializes. I don't know why, but he specializes in funerals. If you want to draw some tears out of some people at the funeral, call him. He will get the tears out. Weddings. And whatever you need, just hit me up and I can get you in touch with my dad. We gonna talk about that, a little bit more of that because you not just singing, but you were a very talented piano player. We gonna talk about that next time you come on. But Kev, where can they find you at?
Yeah, thank you, Jason. So first of all, I want to say thank you, Uncle John. Love you coming through, spreading the knowledge, and with us. Please back. I also want to give a shout out for any parents, guardians, loved ones of kids in the city of Detroit. Please go to embracesports.org. Sign your kids up. We got free camps and activities for them for the summer. Just keeping them active, keeping them interested, and keeping them engaged. Find me on Instagram at Hercules Jack or on Twitter at _KevB_.
That's what's up. That's what's up, man. As always, if you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook, you know exactly where you can find me on those social media outlets. And on Instagram, you can find me at The Jason Experience, exactly how it's spelled under my face. And then also on TikTok, I've been posting again. So y'all can go check out my TikTok or at The Jason Experience. Once again, Dad, I appreciate you coming on here. I love you, Dad. And I'll see y'all next week. Peace out.